Welcome back to the Beauty Lab podcast. I'm Velia.
I'm Monina.
And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Monina all about a very basic skincare routine. Welcome to the Beauty Lab podcast, your drive time resource for all things beauty, health, and wellness. We're your hosts and favorite beauty nerds, Monina and Velia.
Join us as we debunk myths, explore the latest trends, and dive deep into the science behind your favorite products. We'll interview industry experts and answer your burning beauty questions in 30 minutes or less.
So I get complimented on my skin a lot.
Okay.
And I know that sounds like a humble brag, but I completely attribute it to you.
Aww.
Because I'm constantly asking you questions, and I know enough because I'm also licensed to do skincare.
Right.
But I only know enough to get myself in trouble. Like when I steal your peels and I'm putting 100 layers and you're like, what are you doing? Oh, I mean, when I'm never do that exact thing. The conversation of skincare comes up because I like I said, I know enough to get myself in trouble, but I also think I know more than I do a lot because I've said, I use this serum or that serum, and you're like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought I was supposed to. So
She does come to me, though, for advice.
I do.
She really does.
I do. I get facials all the time, and I use all the products you recommend, and I wash my face before I go to bed every night, and I do probably, if I can count them out real quick, probably an 8-step skincare routine.
Okay. Don't let that scare you, guys.
No, that's
Don't let you
me.
scare-
That's me, and that wasn't how I always started.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But when I talk to my clients about, because they'll say oh, your skin looks so good and whatever, I'll be like, yeah, well, I work really hard at making my skin look good because we all know not all of us want to age gracefully. Me.
You want to slow down the hands of time
right,
as much as possible. Yeah.
And one thing that I know I had to stop doing was tanning, in the summertime, being outside in the sun. Which is really hard because I love it.
Yeah.
Not completely 100% never in the sun because that's not me.
Actually do need sunlight.
Yeah.
And actually I just learned this, just a little bit off topic. You want to catch the very first rays of sun when the first 45 minutes of the sun rising. It's actually not harmful for your skin. So that's the best time to get your daily dose of sun exposure.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Look at that. That's also good for your circadian rhythm.
Absolutely. Yeah. It helps your circadian rhythm. Well, and that's a whole nother topic. We can talk about that in another episode.
Okay.
Circadian rhythm.
So my question to you, first question to you is, what is the bare minimum skincare routine that anyone 25 to 45-ish or something in that range, you can get more specific. What's the bare minimum skincare routine we should be doing?
Okay, so I'm going to break it up into 2 categories. So your bare. So for those of you just starting off, in your 20s, you don't have a whole lot of issues yet, but it's good to start a good routine. I actually started, for those of you who have kids, teenagers especially, as soon as they show interest, teach them these basics. So the basics are cleanse, tone, and moisturize. Let me explain the purpose of all those steps. That's your bare minimum. I'm going to throw in a 4th one in a minute. But bare minimum, cleanse, tone, moisturize. So when you're cleansing your skin, what you're doing is you're using a cleanser that's specifically for your skin type. So going backwards, I would probably expect you guys to know what your skin type is, because depending on your skin type, it's going to dictate the type of cleansers, toners, and moisturizers. Instead of getting all into a skin analysis today, we can actually offer that today. So in the notes, you can download my skin analysis and recommendations depending on what your skin type is. We can offer you guys that. So keep that in mind. So again, you're going to cleanse, tone, moisturize. So the first step is to cleanse, and basically what you're doing is you're using either a sudsy type of a cleanser if you have more of the oily combination skin, or you're using more of like a milky, creamy cleanser for those of you who have really sensitive skin, or if you're on the drier side. You know, I find that clients that have drier skin, they don't like that the sudsy type of cleanser. They feel like it's stripping too much.
Yes, that would make sense.
Yeah. So again, that's why you want to know, do you have oily skin, combination, sensitive, dry, all that. So the cleanser is just there to literally clean out your pores. If you watch the other episode where I talked to Velia about washing your hair, it's the same thing with your skin. We call it a double cleanse because the first wash is to just get rid of like the day's residue or makeup. And that's the other thing I like to point out. A lot of people tell me, well, I don't wear makeup, so do I really have to cleanse my skin, or do I have to cleanse it twice? The answer is yes. Because if you think about it, throughout the day, we've got oils, and as you're walking around, things are just landing on your skin. You know, you're touching your face, so there's all kinds of germs and dirt and debris just collecting on your skin. You don't want to go to bed with that. So you still need to cleanse your skin twice because you want to first get rid of all the grime.
Okay.
And then your second cleanse is basically to then go through that skin barrier, break through the oils, going through the pores. A cleanser liquefies the debris and brings it up to the surface, and that's what we rinse off. So for those of you who feel like, my cleanser never seems to work, or it just still feel grimy, it's because you're not leaving it on long enough. So that's the other tip I have for you, right? Is your cleanser actually takes 60 seconds to break through that skin barrier, because our skin is actually our first line of defense. And so we have something called a skin barrier, and it's very strong, and it needs to be. Otherwise, if we didn't have a skin barrier, things like microbes and allergens could just penetrate through the skin, right? So think of your first line of defense as your skin. So you have this protective barrier. Well, a cleanser takes at least 60, sometimes 120 seconds, 2 minutes, for it to break down the pH, break down through that barrier, and actually go in through the pores and do what it needs to do. So that's step number one. You want to cleanse.
Okay.
Step number two is you want to tone. So we just stripped our skin
Right.
of our natural barrier by changing the pH, because that's what your cleanser and water is actually doing, is changing the pH of your skin. And now we're vulnerable. We don't have that skin barrier. Now, if you wait an hour before you put on your moisturizer and everything, your pH actually comes back and your skin barrier is intact, but nobody waits an hour to put on their moisturizer, their foundation, and all that, right? So your second step is to tone. So a toner, it's specifically a pH balancing toner. That is your second step. Because now we want to bring back that acid mantle or our skin barrier.
Got it.
Before you start applying your serums, your moisturizers, and sunscreen. So after you've toned, your skin is ready now, because our skin is very smart, right? If the pH level is at the proper pH, meaning you've got your skin barrier, now it knows, okay, it's a moisturizer, it's skincare, I can let it in. If it's makeup and stuff that don't need to be in the skin, it actually will prevent it from seeping in. So I've found that my clients who complain that their makeup disappears by lunchtime, 9 times out of 10 is because they don't put a pH balancing toner. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's the toner, because your skin wasn't set properly so that it knows, oh, okay, makeup needs to stay out, moisturizer needs to come in. So that's a little tip for you guys.
That's funny, because it feels like, at least in my experience, if people know that they have to wash their face, they know that they should probably use a moisturizer.
Right.
But toner is like so important.
Yes.
But no one realizes this.
Nobody talks about it. I always tell people it's kind of like the rinse cycle in your dishwasher, right? You can't skip that step.
Right.
And more importantly, it's also for to bring back that protective barrier in our skin. If our skin isn't at the proper pH, it's not going to be intact.
Got it.
Okay. So that's why toning is your step 2. After toner, your next step is a moisturizer. So obviously, there are different types of moisturizer. That's why it's really important for you to understand what your skin type is, because there's certain ingredients that are going to be more beneficial for someone who has oily skin versus someone who has drier skin. Again, third step would be your moisturizer. Now, moisturizer, believe it or not, isn't necessarily there to give you moisture. Sure, there's ingredients like hyaluronic acid and stuff like that to help with the moisture in the skin, but one of the big reasons you want to moisturize is because you want to lock in your own moisture. Because believe it or not, our skin actually creates its own emollients, its own humectants, but the scenario I always explain is if you come out of the shower and you're wet, you feel really nice and moisturized, but as soon as it evaporates, you feel dry again. So that's basically what a moisturizer is doing, is it's staying on top of the skin and it's going to lock it in. Exactly. It's going
That's
to lock
exactly
in
what
moisture.
leave-in conditioner does for your hair.
It locks in the moisture. Yeah, because
exactly
our body
what
our bodies create the moisture for us. But if it reaches the top layer of your skin and you have nothing holding it in, it's just going to evaporate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So interesting.
So that's step 3. So moisturizer. I did mention there's actually a 4th step. So in the morning, what's so important is protecting your skin from sun damage.
Oh,
right? So an SPF or a sunblock, super important. There is a difference though between a sunscreen and a sunblock.
Okay.
So if you're the type of person that's going to be out in the sun a lot, especially, or let's say you're going to be at a ball game, or you're going to be golfing or playing tennis and you're going to be out for more than 2 hours, you're probably better off using a sunblock, because sunblocks have things like zinc in it, which is considered a physical barrier.
Okay.
And when I say physical barrier, it's because as long as it's on the skin, you're being protected.
Okay.
So remember growing up when you'd go to the pool and you saw the lifeguard, he had the white, that was zinc. That's a physical barrier.
Okay.
So as long as it was on his nose, he was protected, right? Now a sunscreen, the difference is it uses something like avobenzone or some other sunscreen, which is a chemical reaction. So it actually, when you put it on the skin, it goes into the skin, creates a chemical almost a barrier within the skin.
Okay.
But because it's going in the skin, it's not something that your body recognizes as something that should be there. So within 2 hours, your body actually breaks it down.
Okay.
So that's why all your sunscreens say apply every 2 hours.
Okay, got that. Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, I wear makeup, I can't possibly put more sunscreen on, then your best bet is to use a sunblock.
Okay.
And then your makeup, or have a foundation, like a mineral-based foundation that has zinc, that has a physical block, then you're covered.
Okay. Okay.
So that's your minimum: cleanse, tone, moisturize, and then of course sunscreen or sunblock. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then when you start seeing, as we mature, and we start seeing wrinkles and sun damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So then what? Then what's the next level? You've been doing this 3 or 4 step skincare routine for some years.
Yep.
And now you're like, oh, what is that fine line?
You look in the mirror one day.
What is that punishment for laughing and smiling I see?
I know, right?
So now what do we add to our repertoire?
To your routine. Okay.
Yes.
So when we're talking about aging, right?
Yes.
Aging has so many different factors, so many conditions. The first thing you want to consider is, what is it that you're targeting before you start adding layers of steps to your routine.
Yes, makes sense.
So for me, with aging, there's really 3 things we want to target.
Okay.
And therefore look for products and ingredients that are going to help with those issues. So number 1 would be pigmentation. Second one is fine lines and wrinkles, or your loss of elasticity in the skin. And then there's dehydration. So those 3 things will definitely cause your skin to start to look like it's aging. And of course, we can't stop aging, but we can definitely slow the hands of time, right? So let's break it down.
Okay.
One at a time. So the first one is your pigmentation. So when I talk about pigmentation, I'm talking about hyperpigmentation. I'm only going to talk about sun damage, since that's kind of what the topic was earlier, that we were talking about the sunscreen.
Okay.
There are other issues that can cause pigmentation, but for this segment, I'm just going to talk about sun damage for now. Okay. So sun damage, unfortunately, happens earlier in your years, and it doesn't show up until later.
Yeah.
Like in your 40s, your 50s, definitely your 60s, you'll start to see them. That is what we call sun damage, because it does take several years for it to surface.
Yeah, and that's why I stopped. I thought I've gotten away with it this whole time. I'm like, I'm so much smarter than the sun damage.
Right. Exactly.
But the sun damage that I did 10 years ago is now just starting to catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy to think about that I used to like. I was definitely one of those people who would rub like
baby oil,
like cooking oil on my body and then lay
go,
out and get
lay
as brown as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Whew.
Unfortunately, people don't realize until the damage has already been done. So as early as like you're like a 10-year-old who plays soccer, you know, sun damage has already happened if they're not putting on that sunscreen, right? So let's talk about what to do. What your question was, what can we add to to our routine? Okay, so with the sun damage or pigmentation issues, certain things like niacinamide is really great. I'm sure you guys, that's like been a buzzword for a while. What niacinamide does for pigmentation, it actually reduces the appearance of brown spots. Okay.
Always like that.
Yes. So, and niacinamide has, you'll hear me talk about that a little bit more, has a lot of functions, but when it comes to pigmentation, you want a niacinamide serum to help reduce the appearance of your dark spots. I really love when I see niacinamide also in eye care, you know, because your eye creams or eye gels are specifically made for under the eyes.
Right.
So if you're lucky enough to find something that has niacinamide in it, it'll actually inhibit the production of the dark skin, and so then you won't have that dark circle under the eyes. So that's another reason why I like niacinamide, because I do find it in even eye care, not just skin care.
Okay.
So, and then the other thing to think about is when you've got sun damage or pigmentation happens, it's because the melanin in the skin, believe it or not, it's a self-defense mechanism, right? So when we go out into the sun, our bodies trigger something called tyrosinase enzyme, which produces melanin, because melanin is actually a defense mechanism from the sun.
Oh my gosh.
It's to protect the skin from the damaging UV rays.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happens is as we age, sometimes those tyrosinase, they just turn on, even if we're just in front of like our computer, anything that has some type of UV light. And so now you've got this tyrosinase enzyme working overtime. And so you start to see like the development of brown spots all over the face, right? So there are certain products, creams, night creams that you can put on the skin that has a tyrosinase inhibitor.
Okay.
So that's another ingredient or another product you can include into your routine. And then another favorite one of mine is vitamin C, because vitamin C is an antioxidant. I mean, it has so many different functions, but when it comes to preventing or helping with brown spots, vitamin C is a brightener and also helps just reduce the appearance of the brown spots. And interestingly enough, there's a research that shows that if you drink too much orange juice, right, so vitamin C, before you go into a tanning booth,
oh my gosh,
you actually don't tan as well.
Oh wow, I want to try that.
So yeah, so vitamin C, again, it's great for helping with pigmentation issues. So that's our one problem when we're talking about aging and some of the ingredients and some of the products you can incorporate.
Okay, so now we have the bare minimum of cleanse, tone, moisturize, sunscreen or sunblock.
Exactly, right.
Then we have, 10 more years pass of that, and you're adding some serums, maybe vitamin C, some niacinamide,
and some type of a tyrosinase inhibitor to prevent that melanin enzyme from
overproducing. Can you give us an example of what that is?
It'll actually be in a lot of creams and moisturizers.
Okay.
The one comes to mind is, I think it's astaxanthin, and it is found in a lot of creams and things like that target pigmentation issues.
Okay.
Stuff like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So just if you have no idea where to find something like this, just
we
ask us.
Yeah, we
or
can
Monina specifically, because I don't know.
Actually, we can list a couple of things in the show notes for you guys. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and you should probably list some recommended products that Monina will give you the list of her top recommended products for all of these things, because as much as we want to add them, sometimes it's like swimming through the sea of gimmicks and empty promises.
Yeah.
Sorry, my voice is still a little weird. It's winter and I lost it, and it's back almost all the way.
Again, vitamin C. Also good in the wintertime, not just for sun.
Okay.
All right. Okay, and so the next condition would be your fine lines, wrinkles, loss of elasticity. So interestingly enough, everybody ages one of two ways, biologically. Like this is how your DNA is structured.
Okay.
So you'll either age by losing collagen production, and so you'll start to see like fine lines and wrinkles.
Okay.
Right? In my family, it's the other issue, which is loss of elasticity.
Okay.
So the difference is you either age and you start to see fine lines and wrinkles, or you start to see sagging, which is my side of the family.
I think that's my side of the family too, because my mom and my dad, and my grandparents, barely had any wrinkles. Yeah. And so does that kind of play a role in your ethnicity? Like, do certain ethnicities have that, or is there any?
I think it's your DNA.
It's just your DNA. Okay.
Yeah, it's like your biology. Okay. Yeah, that's what's gonna determine. Now, some people say, well, I have both. Well, the second way is self-afflicted. So what I mean by that is people who they're supposed to age just with the sagging, but they've got the fine lines and wrinkles around the mouth. They may have been a smoker their whole life, right? So the free radicals from the smoke, and then that constant puffing, the loss of the collagen has created those deep lines and wrinkles.
Okay.
So it was more self-inflicted as opposed to biology. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of more things you can incorporate into your daily routine would be serums and moisturizers and things like that target the increased production or boost the production of collagen and elastin in the skin.
Okay.
Okay, so again, you can incorporate a niacinamide serum, because a niacinamide also reduces the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and it increases cellular turnover.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know what cellular turnover is, it's basically the constant production of new skin replacing old skin. So we're always shedding old skin. And believe it or not, you make 1 billion cells a day from head to toe, right? So when you're thinking about washing your hair or cleansing your skin, right, or exfoliating the body, you're actually helping that cellular turnover, because otherwise you're just going to keep seeing dead skin on top of dead skin on top of dead skin, right? And so a lot of people will complain about their skin looking grayish or dull. Yeah. It's because they're not exfoliating. The skin isn't, that cellular turnover isn't happening as often as it used to when they were younger. So using a niacinamide, retinols, that all increases your cellular turnover. So again, that's why you'll hear people say they use some type of retinol or retinoid or vitamin A derivative of some sort, because it helps with that cellular turnover. Also helps to just soften the skin.
So similarly, to hair, when your hair is not shiny, a lot of times it's because you have a buildup of product on your hair that you're not washing off all the way. So you do have to do some form of exfoliating all that junk off.
Exactly.
Because what people like to think they need is more shine serum or something. So then you add more shine on top of more product. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the same thing, with your skin, when your skin's looking dull and dry, and you're saying exfoliate all that junk off.
Yeah, and remember when we talked about the minimum. People aren't using their cleanser long enough, so it's not even going through and breaking down just the topical debris and makeup and things on the skin. So now imagine you're washing your face, but it's not really penetrating. Now you're using product after product after product. After a while, your skin's going to look pretty dull.
And as far as exfoliating your your face.
Yeah.
When I think exfoliation, I think of a scrub, like an actual like gritty scrub.
Physical
I'm always
scrub,
telling you like
Right.
I need a grittier scrub,
Yeah.
because I'm crazy and I
Yep.
am obsessed with exfoliating.
Oh yeah, I am too.
But that's not the only way to exfoliate, right? Because there's
Yeah.
also retinols and other things
Right.
like that don't feel gritty.
Right, which goes right into my next suggestion when it comes to aging and products you want to add. Another cause of aging is dehydration.
Okay.
So we talked about a moisturizer to lock in your own moisture, right? Well, when your skin is dehydrated, it actually starts to pull from your collagen.
Oh my gosh.
So imagine you're dehydrated and now
that makes me sad.
Yeah. Now your body is shriveling up from the inside out.
And it's pulling from your collagen.
It's pulling from the collagen, pulls from your collagen first. It also pulls from your bones. So, as we age, that's why a lot of women who have, calcium deficiency and then they're dehydrated, their osteoporosis goes through the roof.
Oh, wow.
Right? So when we're talking about dehydration, though, we're trying to add product or ingredients into our skincare that's going to help lock in the moisture. Because remember, your skin is actually, not only is it your first line of defense with your acid mantle, it also makes up a huge part of your whole body, right, is your skin. And 70% of it is water.
Yeah, and exactly, right? Yeah, because that's like our biggest organ.
It's our biggest organ.
That.
And I always try to explain it to my younger clients, think about your skin as like a nice plump grape when you've got all that moisture in there. What happens when you throw it out into the sun and it's unprotected, right? Shrivels up into a little raisin. Well, that's exactly what our skin does.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So in order to prevent dehydration, you want to incorporate things into your daily routine that's going to help aid in moisture or aid in hydration. And again, believe it or not, niacinamide
Niacinamide is like the superfood for your skin.
Serum, totally.
Oh my
gosh. Because niacinamide strengthens your skin barrier. Niacinamide helps to plump and hydrate your skin. And then there's certain ingredients like hyaluronic acid, ceramides, shea butter. They help to moisturize the skin. Hyaluronic acid, again, is also a really great serum to add to your routine because hyaluronic serum actually holds 1,000 times its weight in water. So it's a great absorber, like it holds onto water really, really well.
It's used in hair products as well.
Yes, and I mean, I'm sure you've all heard about hyaluronic acid. And then there's another ingredient called phytic acid, which I love, comes from green apples. It acts like a magnet for moisture. So when you spray that on your skin, it's literally like creating this magnet to hold on to the moisture that's already there, and then grabbing onto moisture that's even in the atmosphere.
Wow.
So that's another great one to prevent the dehydration in the skin. You mentioned another thing that I do think you should start to incorporate on a regular basis, which is exfoliating. Okay, so you talked about a physical exfoliant.
Right.
So a physical exfoliant, or what we call a mechanical exfoliant, is usually like, when it comes to skincare, it's those little beads that you find in masks and things like that. So that's a physical barrier because you physically have to move it around. And what that's doing is it's actually going in there and physically removing the dead skin from your face or anywhere on your body, because there are body scrubs, scalp scrubs,
right, exactly,
right, whatever it might be. So its sole purpose is to exfoliate and get rid of that dead layer of skin. Because if you think about all the buildup that we were just talking about, or if you're not leaving your cleanser on 60 seconds, all that buildup keeps building up, and pretty soon you have this thick layer of stuff. Now your moisturizer isn't penetrating, no matter what kind of serum you're using, nothing's going through. So the fastest way to see your products that you're using now to increase the efficacy of it is to exfoliate the skin. So there's a mechanical or physical exfoliant, and then there's things like retinols, right? Or glycolic acid or salicylic serums. Those are all chemical exfoliants. So what that's doing is it's basically exfoliating from the inside out.
Okay.
Now you don't want to do both on the same day. You wouldn't want to do like a physical scrub and a chemical exfoliant. It's
Okay.
just a little too much.
Okay.
Because what you're doing is you're going to end up thinning the skin too much.
And then you'll see like some irritation.
You'll see irritation, inflammation,
Okay.
all that. And again, if you have inflammation, niacinamide.
Niacinamide. I had no idea. Do I have anything with niacinamide?
You know what? I'm going
Oh
to have
my
to
gosh.
see if you have it.
I'm going to lose sleep tonight if I don't.
Niacinamide is my favorite. Going back to exfoliation, depending on your skin type, if you're more like on the sensitive side, I'd say once every 10 days is sufficient. If you have oily combination skin, maybe 3 times a week is fine. But you can kind of gauge it. And again, like I said, you could have both a chemical and a physical exfoliant, but you just don't want to do them on the same day. So if you're not cleansing your skin, and remember how we talked about how many cells do we develop?
1 billion?
1 billion. If you're not cleansing the skin properly, you're not exfoliating all the dead skin, research shows that actually every night you don't wash your face, your skin ages 11 days.
Oh my God! 11 days for every night you don't. So when you don't when you don't wash your makeup off, because there's so many people who are like, I don't wash my face before I go to bed.
Exactly.
Because those are the same people who are like, oh, your skin looks so great. And I'm like, well, it takes me like a half an hour to like do mine. And that doesn't mean everyone has to, but like my husband's already asleep for 20 minutes by the time I'm done like with my skincare routine. So you're saying that if you go to bed with your makeup on, you age 11 days?
About 11 days.
Oh my gosh. I was just glambushed. I was glambushed.
All right, glambushed.
Oh my goodness.
That was my hot tip for the day.
Wow.
So,
okay, well, I have a question from one of our listeners.
Okay.
Awesome. It's from a woman named Maria.
Okay.
She lives in San Jose.
All right.
And she wants to know about those collagen masks that we see, the ones that are like in a sheet and you put them on your face and you look crazy and you can't move for 3 hours, you can't talk and nothing.
Yeah.
Does the collagen in those masks, well, one, do they work?
Okay.
And number 2, does the collagen actually absorb into your skin, and like how does that work, or does it just look shiny because of for the day and the whole glass skin kind of thing?
Right. So for those of you who've tried it or thinking of trying some type of a collagen mask, so there's all types of masks, but we're just talking specifically collagen.
Yes.
So collagen in general is a very large molecule.
Okay.
So the key is to look at the back of your mask and make sure it says hydrolyzed collagen.
Hydrolyzed collagen.
Yes.
That's the key. Okay.
That's the key, because that means that it's the molecular weight, the molecule is small enough to penetrate through the skin.
Okay.
So that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, what type of a delivery system is it using? Because when I look at skincare, right, you want it to penetrate through the skin, but we have different layers that our skin actually has, right? We have 7 different layers, and some ingredients need to be in different layers of the skin.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but if there isn't some type of an encapsulation technology or a delivery system that can bypass the different layers, then the active ingredient can never get to where it needs to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
How do you know if it has?
Yes, so there's, again, you would want to read on the back of your, or investigate and research a little bit and find out, does it have some type of a delivery system?
Okay.
There's different types. For me, what I love is when it's utilizing the delivery system called liposome technology. Okay. And that's where it's encapsulated by certain ingredients that can penetrate through those different layers of skin so that it doesn't degrade until it gets to where it needs to go. So those would be my 2 suggestions, is hydrolyzed collagen and then the delivery system, making sure it actually gets to where it needs to.
Okay. Well, that was an awesome question from Maria.
Thanks, Maria.
Thank you, Maria. Yeah, because
awesome.
I didn't know any of that. So amazing. Yeah. That is all the time we have for today. Okay. My brain is certainly full. Thank you, Monina.
Welcome.
Thank you for hanging out with us again. I'm Velia.
I'm Monina.
And until next time, keep experimenting with your beauty routine.